HarperCollins presents The Last Concerto by Sara Alexander. Read by Sara Alexander. For Mum and Dad, thank you for the piano. Music was my refuge. I could crawl into the space between the notes and curl my back to loneliness. Maya Angelou. Primo movimento. 1. Overture. A piece of music that is an introduction to a longer piece. When her brother opened his eyes, Alba was convinced she was present at his wake. Her mother, Giovanna, knelt on one side of his bed, forehead resting on her thumbs whilst they crawled over the worn beads of her rosary. In the corner, 3 wailers sobbed their own prayers in warbled unison, invoking Mary, Jesus, and any saint who wished to assist. On the other side of the bed, their neighbour Grazietta held a bowl with oil and water. She told the women that the way in which the liquids mixed confirmed that Giovanna's firstborn, Marcellino, was in fact yet another victim of the evil eye. There could be no other explanation as to why he had been kidnapped alongside his father, Bruno, who was still held captive, whilst his son was released by the bandits the night before, after 3 days of white panic for all their family and friends. Grazietta grasped her wand of rosemary twigs and dipped it into the liquid, dousing the sheets like a demented priest. The wailers let out a further cry which trebled across the sheets. A droplet fell on his forehead from another swing of the rosemary, this time a close miss of Alba's eye. With his wince, everyone at last noticed that Marcellino was in fact conscious. Giovanna jumped to her feet and held her child to her bosom. Alba could smell the reassuring scent of soffritto in the folds of her house dress, even from where she stood at the foot of the bed. Those tiny cubes of carrots, onion and celery fried in olive oil before making Sunday's batch of pasta sauce for the week, cut through with the sweat of her panic beneath. "Bisello meo," she murmured in Sardinian, rocking Marcellino with such a passion that Alba knew it would induce a vague seasickness. This was a woman obsessed with omens. If the sauce boiled too fast, 3 starlings rather than 2 screeched their morning tweet, or a feather fell unexpectedly from nowhere, her particular strain of logic would portend horrific visions. She sang prayers to St. Anthony at the crossroads in their Sardinian town when they needed something specific, accepting that it would lead, by necessity, to her forfeiting something in return. Alba had faded memories of her mother praying to miss her cycle one month because there was extra work to be done, only to be doubled up in excruciating pain the following month. Saints gave to those who prayed, but at a cost. The original protection racket. It sat at an uncomfortable angle in Alba's mind. This idea of bargaining with a saint, the very thing she'd been taught was the devil's speciality. Alba's prodding at this point met only with the stone-setting stares of her aunts at best, physical harm at worst. She chose her battles with care and made a silent pact with herself never to be indebted. If something was lost, the Fresus would seek their neighbours, cousins, friends who were well practised in a branch of acceptable magic. In return for fresh eggs, homemade wine, or some other kindness other than money, these soothsayers would murmur secret prayers at midday at a crossroads on the 2nd Tuesday of a month, and relay a dutiful list of everything they heard on the street in order to find said lost item. One day, when 20 lire had gone missing from her mother's kitchen drawer, one such prayer had returned with the word Francesco repeated 3 times. Alba remembers her mother pinning the unsuspecting labourers working on the house next door with her Sardinian glare, black eyes like darts, thick eyebrows scouring a frown, when she found out they were from out of town and all shared that very same name. After that incident, Giovanna stitched her cash into her skirts like her grandmother used to do. None of these accepted manias were woven into the morning of the 27th of May, 1968. No red sky in the morning to warn the shepherds, no burnt garlic,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?